Hello guys, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to share my experience preparing for IELTS and TOEFL and give you a few tips. Before we begin this video, I have to mention that I'm not an IELTS or TOEFL preparation expert. I'm a student just like you, and I happen to pass both of these language exams and get pretty high scores. So the whole video is just going to be my experience and the things that helped me. A little backstory. I took IELTS in 2018 when I was 18 years old because I really wanted to go to Canada to study there, and my score was 8.0. I was actually very nervous during the writing part because I didn't have enough time, but everything was okay and I got a pretty good score. However, I didn't go to Canada because it was way too expensive and I decided to just stay at my university in my home country. As for TOEFL, I took this language exam in 2020, and in 2020 I was stuck in New York City because of COVID. I couldn't leave New York City. I couldn't go back to my home country because all the flights were I couldn't go anywhere because all the flights were canceled. So my plan was to stay in New York City, to go to a university there, and for that I had to take TOEFL, and my score was 109. To be honest, I liked TOEFL a lot more than IELTS, but again, it was just my personal preference, my personal experience, and I didn't end up staying in New York City. After spending some time in New York City, I decided to go to Ukraine and then to Turkey. So yeah, it was just like a whole roller coaster of everything. So yeah, in this video I want to share everything I did, the things that helped me prepare for both of these language exams in just 1 month. And before you start asking me, Veronika, but how much time do I actually need? Do I need a month or 2 months or 3 months or maybe 1 week to prepare for TOEFL and IELTS? I have to tell you that it's very individual. It depends on you. First of all, how much time do you have? If you only have 1 month, then okay, start preparing now. But if you're planning to take an exam next year, then think about your English level, think about how much time you can dedicate for the IELTS or TOEFL preparation, and also what score you would like to get. These 3 things are absolutely crucial to keep in mind. I think in general, the preparation for IELTS doesn't differ much from the preparation for the TOEFL. You have to make good notes, work on your listening and reading skills, and try to immerse yourself in the language. So right now, let's move on to the tips. First, know the format. You should find out everything about the format of the exam. How many questions are usually asked? What type of questions are asked? Because obviously the content of the questions are always going to be different. However, the type of questions are likely to stay the same. And if you know the format well, you will save yourself a lot of time during an exam. Usually all the details about the exams, the format of the exams can be checked on the official website of the examining body. And that's exactly what I did. The first thing, I sat down in front of my computer and I opened the official website. When I was preparing for the IELTS, the website was IELTS.org. Save it and look for details there. As for the TOEFL, the website is called ets.org/toefl.html. All the links to all the websites and all the resources I'm mentioning right now are going to be in the description. The second step is discover what examiners are looking for. This especially applies to writing and oral speaking parts when you have to produce something. What I did when I was preparing for the IELTS and TOEFL was the following. I just tried to look online for past exam papers and look through them. How did students respond to this question? How did they write this essay? What did they say when the examiner asked them this question or that question? And I was trying to look for patterns, and also obviously I just Google how to prepare for the IELTS writing part, or how to prepare for the TOEFL speaking part, for example. And there are so many websites telling you exactly what the examiners are looking for. Of course, it's better if you can afford taking English classes with a native speaker who is an expert in IELTS or TOEFL. However, I know that for some of you guys, it's not probably an option because those classes can be quite expensive because first of all, it's a native speaker, and second of all, they're an expert in IELTS and TOEFL. So if you don't want to take classes with a native speaker or you can't afford to, don't worry, you can still prepare by yourself. I think another great resource to get a sense of what you should be aiming for are videos on YouTube. Yes, we all love YouTube so very much. For the IELTS, the YouTube channel is called Top IELTS Tests. And there I highly recommend watching IELTS Speaking Interview, Band 9 Real Test. 9.0 is the highest band score, and obviously you want to be watching videos of people who managed to get that score because you want to see what they said, or maybe how they structured their answers, or maybe you just want to look at their level of fluency. And plus, a very cool thing that I'm sure you guys will notice is the fact that most of those people have an accent, which is totally okay. Having an accent in English doesn't mean you will get a low score. You have to have good pronunciation, it's true. You have to have a good command of the language, yes, but not the perfect American accent, for example. And the YouTube channel for TOEFL is called TST Prep TOEFL. And they also have a lot of videos covering the writing part and the speaking part. Step number 3, look for test-specific materials. In your browser, just type in IELTS mock tests or TOEFL mock tests and try to do as many as you can before your exam. Again, if you're preparing by yourself, of course you won't be able to get feedback on your writing part and on your speaking part because no one is there to give you feedback. However, to be honest, right now for the writing part, you can use ChatGPT. You can just copy and paste your essay there and ask ChatGPT to check it, for example, to find all the grammar mistakes you made. When it comes to the speaking part, you can talk to yourself. You can record yourself, for example, and then watch the recording again and try to find like all the mistakes you made, if you made any mistakes. Obviously, it's better if you have like a teacher who could give you feedback, but again, it's not 100% necessary. You can pass IELTS and TOEFL successfully without a teacher, all by yourself. The main reason why mock tests are important is because they will help you get the timing right. And the timing is everything when it comes to IELTS and TOEFL. When I was taking the IELTS exam in 2018, my timing really sucked. Like, I didn't have enough time to really finish my writing part well, so I was like scribbling so fast. Guys, you cannot even imagine, because I had like 5 minutes left and I had like this much. You know, and I was like, oh my god, no, I have to write faster. Obviously, I made a lot of mistakes. Like, my writing part was the worst. Like, all the other parts really helped me get a good score. So that's also something that makes those exams more interesting. If you know that, for example, writing is hard for you and probably you will not get a good score, you can prepare really well for speaking, reading, and listening and get really good scores there. So my advice, time yourself. When you're at home and you're doing a mock test, time yourself. Like, use a stopwatch on your phone. Be very serious about it, because when you're there actually taking an exam, the examiner's there. They won't be like, okay, we can give you 5 more minutes. No, they will be like, give me your papers right now. The time is up. Tip number 4, surround yourself with a target language. I think some people have this wrong idea that if you're preparing for an international exam, all you should be doing is mock tests, practice tests, and that's it. I don't think it's true. I think you will get bored very fast, and it's just very important to surround yourself with language. Continue reading your favorite book in English. Continue watching your favorite show in English. But now try to be more mindful and more serious about that. Every time you're watching your favorite show, try to pause if you see a new word you don't know. Try to look up the meaning in the dictionary and try to use this word yourself, like create a sentence and say it out loud. The same is true for reading. When you're reading a book and you come across a cool new word and you feel like you could use it during the IELTS or TOEFL exam, create a sentence and say it out loud. Because you have to understand that all of these exams check your overall level of proficiency. And to increase your language level, it's important to fully immerse yourself in the language. And I think what can help you immerse yourself in English and have a good time learning English is my workbook that is called Real English Workbook. If you want to learn new vocabulary that native speakers regularly use, I highly recommend you go check out this workbook. I think it's an amazing resource for those of you guys who just want to learn useful vocab on 10 different topics and also listen to how native speakers actually say all of those words, because every single conversation is recorded by a native speaker from the United States. I really wanted to create a material that is as authentic as possible, and that's why I knew that I had to ask help from a native speaker, because I'm not a native speaker myself. Of course, I could record all the conversations too, but my pronunciation is not always perfect. I have an accent and it's totally okay, and obviously I want to make sure my product is good quality. So if you want to get the workbook and have fun learning English and improve your pronunciation, your accent, learn a lot of new, cool, amazing words, make sure to click the link in the description and get the workbook right now. And finally, I want to talk about memorizing new vocabulary, because when you're preparing for a foreign language exam, there are probably many words you have to memorize, many new words you have to learn. And you're always asking me, Veronika, how are you memorizing all of this new vocabulary in English, Spanish, and Chinese, because you're learning 3 foreign languages? Like, how do you actually do it? And guys, the answer is simple. First of all, I'm consistent, and consistency is very important. And second of all, I use Anki. Anki is based on this spaced repetition technology, and I think right now there are multiple apps that have this technology. I prefer using Anki because it's something that I started using such a long time ago when I just went to college. I was like 17 years old. I was learning Chinese and I was using Anki. So it has a lot of nostalgia for me. The spaced repetition technology can help you learn new vocabulary 3 times as fast, and I can attest to that. I can truly tell you guys that is absolutely true. If I'm not using Anki, if I'm trying to just memorize new words, I write them down on a piece of paper and I try to memorize a whole list, well, it's gonna be pretty unsuccessful. But when I have all my cards with all the new vocabulary on my computer and on my phone, it makes it so much easier to memorize all of these new words. First of all, it's so much easier to create all of these cards electronically because you can just copy and paste everything. And second of all, because of this spaced repetition technology, your learning is a lot more effective. So I think these are all the things that I did to prepare for the TOEFL and the IELTS successfully. Again, my IELTS score was 8.0 and my TOEFL score was 109. And for me, that was absolutely perfect. I was very happy with those scores. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I really hope your exam preparation will be successful and you will get the score you want. So really good luck with that. I know it's very hard, I know it's very stressful, but you can do it. I believe in you. If you're consistent, if you're serious about it, you will get a good score. And if you want to make English learning more fun, don't forget to check out my Real English Workbook. The link will be in the description. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you guys in my next video.